Good morning. Apologies for the weather in New York. I suspect the British delegates here brought it with them. I want to give you a very quick sense of scale, the problems that we are facing around the world, and that sense of scale, I hope, will also point out where the opportunities lie. Okay. Everybody in this room is comfortable with mathematics, so there's a whole bunch of numbers coming at you. In the world today, there are about 650 million children who are of primary school age. Yeah, that age range, between about 6 and 11. About 600 million of those are in school, and 57 million are out of school at the moment, today. That means, those of you who are doing the mental calculation, 1 in 11 children at primary school level are out of school, not going to school at all. That's not the biggest problem, actually. It's a big problem, but it's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that 250 million children, by the time they reach about the age of 9 or 10, can't write a single word, or read a single word, or do the simplest addition, right? Even, and that's 250 million, includes about half of those kids have actually been in school for 4 years. They still can't read anything or write anything. There are 775 million illiterate people in the world today. 2/3 of them are women, right? Okay, that's quite depressing, the bald statistics. Governments in poor countries usually allocate about 20%, 1/5 of their national budget, all of the money they get from tax, from import duties, all the rest of it. 1/5 of the money is devoted to education in poor countries. Everybody recognizes the importance of education. Almost all of that money, 95% or so, goes on what? What does it go on? What do they spend that money on? Salaries, teacher salaries, absolutely right. Even though we do that, even though all of these poor countries, Kenya, Congo, all of these countries spend all of this money on teachers, on education and on teachers, around the world, there is a teaching gap of 5.4 million teachers. We need an additional 5.4 million teachers in the world. Even the teachers we've got are often not good enough. There was, in Nigeria, they tested 1,600 teachers at primary level. They gave them the primary grade 4 test. They took 1,600 teachers and they gave them the test that they actually give to the students. 1,300 of those teachers got less than 25% on the test. And that's not the only example. There are even worse examples out there. Okay, right. So that's the scale of the problem we're looking at. One other thing is that the teacher shortage, just to take one of the countries that I used to work in Kenya, at the moment there are 180,000 teachers, but that leaves a gap of 40,000 teachers. And what that means is that the class sizes in Kenya, the average is about 50. So most teachers are teaching about 50 kids. And in rural areas, as you just heard, teachers don't like to go to rural areas. Class sizes can go up to 70, 80, even more than that. I used to be a teacher in West Africa, and I had one class of 120. Okay, opportunities. There's an amazing statistic, it's again from Kenya, an amazing statistic that there are 40 million people in Kenya. In the last 5 years, 50 million mobile phones have been sold, right? Everybody's got a mobile phone in Kenya. And network coverage is pretty much across the whole country. It's got to be an opportunity so that technology can help close the gap in teachers, in the coverage of teachers, in the skills of teachers, and all the rest. When we try and identify that opportunity, we've got, I am almost there. When we try and identify that opportunity, it's not just the politicians we have to convince. There are a whole bunch of stakeholders, and they've all got to be addressed. And they include families, who are never satisfied with education, the politicians themselves, who actually tend to listen to businesses rather than educators. Businesses always want greater productivity. They're also never satisfied with education. But then you've also got to think about the teachers, particularly the teaching unions, yeah, who are sometimes a bit difficult. And also, interestingly, the standards agencies. This is both the teacher registration agencies and also the exam councils and people like that, because they all have a part to play in this. Remember that on the standards agencies, there are some things that they can measure, but there are some things they can't measure, and they can't give us the data for. And that's it. Thank you.